Well, you get to see my mug again for another however many months it is. 5 months? Something like that, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again. Oscars. They're coming up in 5 months. But anyways, this is Oscars at a glance, the pure speculation. Here we are again. You can kind of see my shirt, doesn't matter. In September, it's August 31st here when I'm recording, but tomorrow is the first day of September, and it is time to take a look at what is coming up here, Oscar season. Okay? I kind of have a rough plan just for today's video. We're just going to look through stuff that's scheduled to come out. Of course, schedules always change. Everything always changes before Oscar season and everything. And yeah, so we're just going to take a look first at some films that have come out that I've either seen and think have potential, or that I haven't seen but that are good bets. Okay, we're actually going to start with a movie that a lot of people just didn't like, Hail Caesar. And the reason I bring it up, I mean, at this, it's obviously too early to say it's a lock for anything, and that goes for pretty much every film that we're going to mention today. But it's so far out. It's like you kind of look smart if you can call something in one way or another. But anyways, Hail Caesar, it's got all the in the technical awards. I think is where it's going to shine if it gets in at all, because you have stuff like Roger Deakins shooting it, the Coens editing and writing it. You've got their usual team there who are usually nominees when something comes out. And I really enjoyed the movie. I think the review's up on my channel there, so that's a good one. Zootopia I'll mention next. Zootopia is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the two best films of the year so far that I've seen. And I haven't seen as much this year as I usually see at this point, but that's one I was shocked at just how well Zootopia did to begin with at the box office, and then with critics and everything, because I thought the previews were meh, okay. Man, that movie really rocked everybody. Rocked the box office, it rocked critics, and then when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. It was really solid. I would say even solid's not giving it enough credit. I thought it was phenomenal. It was a great animated movie. It had just about everything you needed there to have the full film experience, I think. I mean, it didn't hit me emotionally the way it did other people, but man, that was so entertaining, and of course, it has hilarious moments. Probably the best role Jason Bateman's had in a long time, and I think he's a good actor and everything, but I mean, usually he's been doing some stinkers the last few years. This was great. And I mean, the supporting cast was great, from Idris Elba doing voice to J.K. Simmons doing voices, Octavia Spencer. Everybody was in that movie. It feels like almost, but yeah, lots of great stuff. I do think it's almost a lock to be nominated for Best Animated Feature, and I think it's going to come up against a couple other movies here. Finding Dory for sure, and at least from what we've seen so far, Kubo and the Two Strings, or Kubo, however you pronounce it. We've got a couple other animated films coming out, of course, later on. But those are two other ones I'll mention here for animated feature. Those two are definitely threats there. Usually we have at least one stop-motion film get in there, and Disney usually has a couple in there, or one. I think Moana is the other one, or however you pronounce it. And that doesn't show until November, but we'll see. We'll see how well that one does. But Zootopia was excellent, and I wasn't a huge fan of Finding Dory. I mean, I was kind of like, okay, once it was over, but that one, yeah, if it does end up winning, I'll be disappointed for sure, personally. But I think Zootopia, if that won, that for me is almost the total package when it comes to an Oscar animated feature winner, which is like Inside Out winning last year excited me, because that was one I'd actually seen and really enjoyed. I mean, there's other ones, of course. Almost anything else from Pixar, with the exception of probably Brave or something like that. But yeah, so that one, I think for sure is going to get in. I mean, we can never say for sure. Lego Movie, remember? Yeah. Next one I'll mention is Jungle Book, another Disney. Disney has just been on fire this year. For everything from Zootopia, Captain America, Civil War was incredible. Jungle Book and Zootopia for me are two of the best films of the year. That and Lights Out, surprise! I just saw that a week or so ago. Lights Out is phenomenal. You should see Lights Out. definitely those three are the first 10 out of 10 movies for me this year. Lights Out totally took me by surprise. That was phenomenal. And Jungle Book, I think it's definitely getting in for visual effects. It's definitely getting in for production design. I wouldn't be too surprised if the score got in. It's got a great score. Um, yeah, I don't see it doing as far as Best Picture yet. Then again, we have stuff like Mad Max from last year, which totally shocked us. And and at this time last year, we were saying, Mad Max, sure, it's got a lot of fans, but is it going to make it? And lo and behold, it did, and it won more Oscars than any other film that last February. So, and Jungle Book, I don't see it being like a Best Picture winner at this rate, but I'm not going to say totally discount it yet. And then director Jon Favreau is I mean, he's a great director, and this is very good work, definitely. Yeah, production design, score, visual effects are ones that I would put in for sure. Do I want to say cinematography? Maybe. I'm trying to think of the other technical, maybe film editing, stuff like that. But we'll see how many of those catch-all categories it can hit. The next one is Cafe Society. Woody Allen is usually very well liked. Of course, with his most, not I won't say most recent, but the last time he got his big wave of criticisms and stuff was right when Blue Jasmine was hitting. And some of that might have stuck with the Oscar voters. It didn't do huge business in the limited release it got over the summer. I haven't seen it yet, but it's got a really attractive cast there in Kristen Stewart, Jesse Eisenberg, who've worked well together in Adventureland and other stuff. Steve Carell's in it. Who else? Blake Lively. A couple others in there. Was Parker Posey, or am I confusing that with his last one, Irrational Man? Irrational Man's one. That was actually really good. No, I won't say really good. It was a pretty good movie, more entertaining than I thought it would be. Yeah, for me, yeah, Woody's hit and miss, but that's one. Especially when you get like to Golden Globes and stuff, Woody Allen is a little more popular there. He might get in for some stuff there from the screenplay or directing, maybe if it hits well at the Globes, and it will be classified, as far as I know, as a comedy musical. And as I just kind of looked at a couple of the films that are more looking like comedy musicals this year for the Globes, and it might be slim pickings there. And Woody might have a good shot at getting some nods there. Next one I'll mention, I mean, I thought it was okay, but other people have really liked is Pete's Dragon, another Disney film. What do you know? And I think visual effects, cinematography, score are potentials there. I'm not sure if it had an original song or not. That's a potential for sure, if it does qualify there. But yeah, a lot of that's remaining to be seen, of course. Okay, so that's all stuff that I've seen, or some of the early stuff that's already out that people might have seen that we might be saying, hey, let's talk about the potential there. And those are, again, not. I mean, I'm not going to be too surprised when all of those or if any of those are left out. Because we do have a pretty full slate coming up here, especially when we get to November and December, as usual. We usually get a few in September that have potential, a few in October, and then once we get to November, December, yeah, that's when we're like, every week there's 2 or 3 films we got to talk about that are coming out. September, we're going to start actually with one that comes out on Friday, The Light Between Oceans. Derek Cianfrance's newest film. Of course, you remember him and his. Let's see, I'm going to bring these up in case I need to figure out who the director is and stuff, because a lot of these are listed on Wikipedia for this for release dates and stuff. That's where I'm getting a lot of this from. And of course, Wikipedia, anybody can edit and everything, and the studios might do some last-minute switching here every once in a while. That happens. So, but yeah, Derek Cianfrance, of course, Blue Valentine, and Place Beyond the Pines. Usually hasn't been too strong at the Oscars here, and the mixed reviews kind of speak for that. And the film's chances. I think it's not a very likely picture, director, screenplay, any of those contenders. Maybe Fassbender and Vikander have a little bit of a chance. I've heard Rachel Weisz actually kind of steals the movie. Maybe supporting actress for her. She's been nominated. When was her last? Or Constant Gardner. She won. That's right. She might get a few slots here and there if the film sticks with us. I don't know how well it's going to do this weekend, but we'll see. The next one here that I'm going to talk about is one I'm actually really pumped about, and that's Sully, Clint Eastwood's newest. And that's one I think Tom Hanks, he didn't get nominated for British Spies, totally left out for two excellent performances in 2013 with Captain Phillips. Oops, I'm losing you there. With Captain Phillips and Saving Mr. Banks. I would have nominated him twice that year, but I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan. What do I know? And Sully, I think it'll have the biopic aspect. Warner Brothers has only a couple other films that I'm looking at here, and Clint. I mean, he almost got in for Best Director a couple years ago for American Sniper, and that, of course, didn't go over well with a lot of people. A lot of people hated that movie. I thought it was good. I mean, nothing to write home about, but definitely a one to watch. And Sully, just from the looks of the trailers and stuff, looks like it's going to be as good or even better than American Sniper. Plus, what's his first name again? Whatever, Sullenberger, Super Sully as they called him in real life there. Can't think of too many people who hate his guts the way there were people that hated Chris Kyle's guts. And of course, a lot of that actually, once the movie came out, they started to realize, oh yeah, that guy, oh, we hate him. Yeah, some of that I just couldn't understand. But anyways, not to get into too much controversial stuff there. And Clint Eastwood, he's been hit and miss the last few years. J. Edgar was kind of dreadful. Jersey Boys made me laugh when it shouldn't have. Yeah, American Sniper was good, sure. And of course, I think $1 Million Baby is the last one we can go back to, probably. Besides, what was the one he did with Angelina Jolie that some people liked? Changeling. Changeling. Yeah, some people like that. It was kind of mixed, but this and Sully looks fantastic. I mean, this visual effects has an outside chance of getting in. Aaron Eckhart's in there. He usually gives a good performances there. Tom Hanks, I think, is a threat for Best Actor to get nominated. I don't know who's the front runner at this point. We don't have one, of course. It's speculation because we've seen like maybe 2 of the films so far that are going to be talked about in the next few months or that are going to premiere soon. And so yeah, we have no idea. And let's see, screenplay is always something you can think about. Cinematography, maybe some of those technical stuff, but director and picture are certainly possibilities. As a matter of fact, I think I do have Sully to get in for picture as a fill-in right now as we're kind of whittling down, okay, what's actually going to have a shot here at getting in. Next one I'll talk about, some people are probably going to say, no, it's too late. And that's Oliver Stone's newest one, Snowden. Supposed to come out last December, got pushed back to May. Supposed to come out in May, gets pushed back to September. Okay, they're like 2 weeks out. The movie is, if it doesn't come out now, I'm really going to be, I'm never going to count on seeing it again. The trailers have been pretty good so far, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it, Shailene Woodley. They got everybody from Melissa Leo to Tom Wilkinson to Nicolas Cage in there, Zachary Quinto. Yeah, but usually Oliver Stone, he usually gets a good cast in there. And he has been cold, stone cold, as far as reception from the Oscars go. People forget, back in the late 80s there, Platoon on, he was Oscars golden boy. He got nominated everywhere he could. He won Best Director twice, 2 times within a space of about 3 or 4 years there. That doesn't happen very often. People forget that. Sure, we just had Alejandro Inarritu win twice in a row. That was the first time it's happened in almost, what was it, close to 70 years, over 65 years, I believe. So yeah, it's a rarity for directors to win within that short of space. And Oliver Stone has not had anything get touched by Oscar in a long time. And not to say Snowden won't, be totally left in the dust, and I don't know how good the reviews are going to be on the film, and it has been, delayed a few times here. And I think maybe part of that has to do with what was the documentary that came out that won a couple years ago? Whatever it was, the one that won that was about Snowden. Maybe because it is such a hot topic still for some people, that's why they're delaying it. But I'm starting to maybe think, maybe Oliver Stone is back, but at the same time, it's, you never know, Okay, that's actually all I had for September. Moving to October now. First one I have is Tate Taylor's The Girl on the Train. It's of course, a adaptation of the book. Haven't read the book, but it's got a pretty solid cast. It's got everybody from Emily Blunt to Rebecca Ferguson, who surprised us all in Mission Impossible last year, Haley Bennett, Edgar Ramirez, Allison Janney, however you pronounce it, Lisa Kudrow, Luke Evans. It's got a pretty solid cast there. And Tate Taylor, of course, The Help, was, I think a lot of people say he was totally 86th when he got left out for Best Director there for The Help, and that it was actually on the other night. I was watching bits and pieces of it. It still holds up. Good movie. Get On Up from a couple years ago didn't get anywhere. But it's got a prime October release date, and usually that's a good sign. And Emily Blunt has been left off for the past few years for good work and stuff like Sicario and Into the Woods, stuff like that. She's been close to, but not quite nominated for. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. That's one, I haven't seen the trailers too much for it, but I kind of want to go in kind of cold, not knowing what the story is. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Next one I'll talk about, The Accountant, with Ben Affleck. It's got Anna Kendrick, J.K. Simmons, John Lithgow, Jeffrey Tambor, John Bernthal, directed by Gavin O'Connor, who did Warrior. What was the other one he did that I'm forgetting right now? More recent one. Oh, Jane Got a Gun. That's right. He stepped in and did that when the director left the set. Yeah, I haven't seen that one, so I can't tell you if I like that or not. But yeah, The Accountant, I was kind of disappointed, actually, when I found out it was more of an action movie. Because I thought, just the title, Ben Affleck and Anna Kendrick, both, of course, nominees for multiple things in the past. Affleck twice winner. I was thinking, oh, it's going to be like a thriller there, where it's kind of just like a banking thriller, where it's going to be all about kind of like a darker version of The Big Short or something like that, And then I found out, oh, it's going to have guns and stuff. I mean, I'm still going to say, it might hit well, but and the trailers have been fairly good, but yeah, I'm gonna say maybe a few categories here and there, but that might be it. Okay, next one we're talking about here it's going to be a controversial one, Birth of a Nation. Maybe not as controversial as the original, but of course this is the remake or not remake, sorry. But new film in name only, kind of referencing Birth of a Nation, 1915 film, of course, with Nate Parker and Armie Hammer's in there. And it premiered at Sundance to rave reviews, got picked up by Fox Searchlight. Nate Parker also wrote and directed the film, or I believe wrote. Do I have that? Let me look it up here. Birth of a Nation, 2016. Yeah, there's this whole controversy with. Yes, he did have a hand in the screenplay there. Yeah, but and producer as well. God, is there anything he didn't do on that movie? Anyways, but yeah, I got picked up by Fox Searchlight, coming out the first weekend of October, actually. And everybody who saw it really, really liked it. The problem is all that controversy around Nate Parker and the rape accusations and stuff, and all that is really, really bringing up a storm right now. And, maybe when October comes around and the film is actually released for everybody to see, maybe by then everything is cooled off and we've forgotten all about it. Maybe it hypes up again. I don't know, but yeah, now's not the best time for those to start to surface. And God knows it hurts all sorts of other competitors there when it comes to their films and everything. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure it's going to be a big hitter there, but I have it getting in for like director, picture, actor, a couple other things here and there. I think a lot of it just because of that, Oscars so white bullshit we had to deal with last year, which I did a whole video on and said, no, you're not. The Oscars are not solely to blame for the lack of diversity in Hollywood. No, that's it's 6,500 old white guys. They don't represent every last moneymaker in Hollywood who sets up the budget for films like this. So, yeah, but enough of that. Let's move on here. American Pastoral is the next one I'll mention. I have not heard a word about this movie, but it is coming up here at Toronto in September here, and it has a good cast in there: Ewan McGregor, Dakota Fanning, Rupert Evans, Jennifer Connelly, David Strathairn's in there. Uzo Aduba is in there. Who else am I seeing here? Molly Parker from House of Cards is in there. I have no idea what it's about, except reading post-war. Yeah, this is off Wikipedia. Post-war America. A man watches his seemingly perfect life fall apart as his daughter's new political affiliation threatens to destroy their family. whatever that means. It's got a good poster too. But yeah, I'm going to wait and see what the buzz is on that one. You know, Eve McGregor never been nominated. Jennifer Connelly's been pretty left out since A Beautiful Mind win. David Strathairn, has been in some good movies, but yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to wait. That is coming up here. I'll see what the buzz is on Toronto, and for all we know, it's going to be a big, big hit. Okay, moving into November. Now we get busy. Starting with the first weekend, we have a couple to talk about here. Hacksaw Ridge, Mel Gibson's newest film. Andrew Garfield, Vince Vaughn, Sam Worthington, Hugo Weaving, Teresa Palmer, all sorts of great actors in that one. It's the war story, of course, World War II. What's the guy's name again that Andrew Garfield plays? Desmond Doss. Yeah, who didn't want to fight in the war, ends up being a medic who saves a lot of lives and stuff. A pretty compelling story. Gibson, of course, has been nothing if not a classic example of controversy, just in everything he's done in the last 10, 15 years. And who knows? This could be his big comeback. It is premiering at Venice here. What is it? Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. And it's, for all I know, it's going to be a huge hit. Andrew Garfield, of course, got left off the list of Best Supporting Actor for The Social Network a few years ago. And I'm waiting for him to get his big Oscar chance, and I think this could be it. And definitely, I mean, Mel Gibson, regardless of what you got to say about the guy, and the way I handle a lot of this is, okay, the actor and what they do in their personal lives is different from what they do on screen, or their contributions on screen, depending on what they do. And if they're talented with making things on screen look good and acted well and everything, whether it's an actor, director, or writer, I don't care what they do in their personal lives. If they've got talent, it's a shame to lose it or to not utilize it. And I think Mel Gibson, look back at that first Lethal Weapon movie. He does a phenomenal job in that. And he's got some heady stuff to work with there. And he is equal to the part. And of course, Braveheart, he won an Oscar for. And a couple other films here and there he's done have been very well respected. Sure, he's again been that just in a tornado of controversy since then, with all the accusations and stuff and the telephone calls that got uploaded to YouTube and everything. I mean, surely there's going to be some people who are still upset at him. But man, if you can do something like that and get a big Oscar push, he might be back in the game before we know it. Okay, next up, Bleed for This. Miles Teller is the star here, and it's about Vinny Paz, or I don't follow boxing very well. But Creed got in a few places here and there last year. Boxing movies historically have done well at the Oscars. And Miles Teller is somebody who I'm surprised he hasn't gotten as much universal love as he has. A lot of people just downright hate his guts. Sure, again, his personal life and everything is different from what he does on screen. What he does on screen has never been short of great. I mean, even War Dogs I just saw a week ago or so, and he was good in that. He was kind of wooden in the first part of the movie, but that's the way his character was written. So, yeah, he did it well. And of course, don't even have to bring up Whiplash, Spectacular Now, stuff like that, where he's been just terrific from start to finish. Especially for me, Spectacular Now. I think he should have been nominated for that. In a year of great leading male performances, he was phenomenal. Yeah, he was still against people like Bruce Dern that year, Christian Bale. Who else am I forgetting that year? Tom Hanks again. All sorts of great performances that year. He was one that stood out for me. And it's again, Aaron Eckhart's in the supporting cast. Might hit a couple spots here and there. Okay, next weekend, this would be November 11th. The next one we're going to talk about is Arrival. Denis Villeneuve, whatever the F his name is, the guy who did Sicario and Prisoners, his next one, Arrival. I don't know anything about the movie other than aliens. I'm sold. Let's go. I don't want to know anything else. Same happened to me with Sicario. I was like, what's it about? Border Patrol? I'm in. And border protection and everything. I'm sold. Let's see it. And that's the way I am with a lot of these movies anymore, where if I know the basic premise, that's enough for me. I'm going to see it regardless. But and this is one everybody that saw the trailer, their most recent trailers have said it looks phenomenal. Okay, that's all I need to know. And it is premiering tomorrow at Venice Film Festival, which is a good sign because that's 2 months ahead of its release date, which means they are really confident in the movie. And it's Paramount, who got in last year with Big Short, missed out on Interstellar a few years ago, and I can't remember if it's showing up at Toronto or not, but if it can catch a couple of those other film festivals leading up to its release, that can't do anything but help the movie. And so, yeah, I think and then Amy Adams is in it, along with good supporting cast there of previous nominees and winners, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, and Michael Stuhlbarg, who was in everything last year from, what's the name, the Bryan Cranston one, Trumbo, and Steve Jobs, really good in both movies there. He's a good actor, yeah. So we'll see what he has to offer there, and I'm sure Amy Adams will get in at Globes and stuff. They love her at the Globes. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Next one is one that I put in for Best Picture right away, and I said as early as, I think it was April or May when the first trailer came out, I said, it's a sure bet to get in, and that is Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. I am ecstatic about this movie. Just the trailer alone totally sold me on the premise. I mean, it's got such a diversified cast there, from Kristen Stewart, Vin Diesel, Garrett Hedlund, Steve Martin, Chris Tucker, and it's directed, of course, by two-time Oscar winner Ang Lee. Life of Pi and Brokeback Mountain were wins for him, and especially Life of Pi was phenomenal. And Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, Billy Lynn's long title, movie title, just looks great. Some people are already saying Steve Martin might get in for his first nomination for supporting actor. The young man Joel Alwyn, who plays Billy Lynn, would be his first, I believe it's his first film role. Kristen Stewart has really been coming up in the last few years on Oscar conversations and stuff. I think, what was On the Road was one people talked about. And then, a couple years ago in Still Alice, she got a lot of buzz for that. A little, too little, too late. And then last year, especially with Clouds of Still Maria, she got a couple of critics groups wins. I mean, she has turned the corner on that, on coming off of those Twilight movies and becoming a legitimate actress in the eyes of everybody. She is well on her way to getting her first Oscar nomination, and this might be the one that does it. And she does look like she has a great role in the movie. Again, just based off of 20 seconds in a trailer, sure. And I can't remember where it's premiering at, but it's going to show before New York Film Festival. That's right. It's going to show at New York there in October. And yeah, I mean, they used a new camera and it's new technology or something here. So I think it's definitely going to get in for a few of those above the line nominations: screenplay, director, picture, maybe a few acting nominations here and there. And then I think cinematography is probably a good bet at this point. Original score is probably a good bet. Editing, pretty much anybody who got nominated, maybe visual effects if it qualifies for it. I think it's got a lot of the crew that Life of Pi did, and almost all of them were nominated or won for their respective categories there on Life of Pi, which again was a phenomenal film. And Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk just looks terrific. I cannot wait to see it. I am ecstatic about that one. Okay, so we got that one there. The next one I'll talk about is Manchester by the Sea. This was, if you weren't talking about Birth of a Nation at Sundance, you were talking about Manchester by the Sea. I have not seen any of the trailers on that yet, and it's another one where I'm like, kind of just want to know the basics, but otherwise I'm good to go. I'll see it anyways. It's got Kenneth Lonergan is the director there. Let's see, he's hasn't done anything that's gotten big Oscar buzz in a long time. Not really since You Can Count on Me back in 2000. And he wrote the screenplay for stuff like Gangs of New York and Back to Analyze This, stuff like that. And he is one who his work has kind of been, you don't really think about it until you see it again. And it's got a good, solid cast in there. Casey Affleck is a threat for Best Actor, definitely. Michelle Williams, I think, is almost going to be a guaranteed nominee for supporting actress, the way people talk about her performance. Kyle Chandler might see his first nomination. I guess he's in a supporting role there. I don't want to. Again, I know a little bit about what happens to him just based on the descriptions of the movie that I've read, but otherwise, yeah, I'm going to see it. and it has a lot of people have said, yeah, now that Birth of a Nation is getting kind of waysided there, Manchester by the Sea is the one to vote for early on. And yeah, we'll see how that sticks, and we'll see if it does become a huge contender there. It did get picked up by what was it, by Amazon, and of course we all know what happened last year with Beasts of No Nation with that, and how it got bought by Netflix, and then the theaters got really pissed because everybody who was going to see it in the theater ended up seeing it on Netflix anyways. And maybe the same thing will happen here with Amazon, but they do have, I believe, it's roadside attractions who could get a little buzz going there and get it into theaters where it will definitely qualify there for sure, and then where hopefully they'll maybe do Amazon. You can view it online starting in, and I don't know, I don't have Amazon, so maybe it is ready to watch now. I doubt it, but maybe starting in January you can start watching it on Amazon or something. And that way that they'll wait until after the new year, or wait until after Oscar nominations come out. That way the roadside attractions can be the main buzz for the movie, and I think that's what really prevented not Birth of a Nation, sorry, Beasts of No Nation. So many bees and nations to start the title there with those films, but yeah, that's one that I think definitely got hurt by the fact that it was a Netflix movie there, purchased by Netflix, I should say. But I think Manchester by the Sea might be the first one to be purchased by that online company there and do well at the Oscars. Next up is Allied. Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard are the stars here. It's from Robert Zemeckis, who again has been very cold at the Oscars since his big payday in '94 with Forrest Gump. And again, I don't know much about the movie, haven't seen the trailer yet, but and I'm sure I'll see the trailer here or there in the theater. But it's got a good release date of November, late November there, right before Thanksgiving. Good cast supporting it. It's got Matthew Good, Lizzie Kaplan, Jared Harris, to name a few. So I think that's one that'll probably do well. Okay, got a couple more here for November. The next one I'll talk about, kind of hit and miss for people, is Rules Don't Apply. Warren Beatty's first film in 15 years or something like that, and it's about Howard Hawks, and or sorry, not Howard Hawks, Howard Hughes. I swear to God, I know stuff. And of course, everybody's like, well, didn't we just have a movie, or not just? Didn't we have a movie that covered that pretty well from a few years ago? It was called The Aviator, and it did how many, like 12 Oscar nominations, and was almost Martin Scorsese's first big win at the Oscars. Yeah. But this one does have a phenomenal cast, though, and I remember I saw the trailer for it, and I was kind of iffy on the trailer. It did have good spots, did have bad spots in it, but it's got a phenomenal cast, from Warren Beatty himself to Lily Collins to Alden Ehrenreich, who was the standout in Hail Caesar, Annette Bening, Beatty's wife, Matthew Broderick, Alec Baldwin, Haley Bennett, Candice Bergen, Dabney Coleman, Steve Coogan, Ed Harris, Oliver Platt, Martin Sheen. Jesus, who is not in this movie? And it could do well, technically speaking, as well. I believe Beatty will go supporting, because I think Ehrenreich is the main star there, and Lily Collins is also going to be considered lead, as far as I know. It's got like 20 producers on the movie. I'm literally counting that. Brett Ratner's one of them, and his production company's in on it. There's a few others there. None of them are names that pop out to me yet. And then him and Bo Goldman wrote the script. Of course, huge hit at the Oscars, from everything from Cuckoo's Nest to Scent of a Woman. Didn't he win again for... he got nominated, I believe, for Melvin and Howard. Or he won. No, he won for Melvin and Howard. That's right. Yeah, and he won another Golden Globe for Scent of a Woman. So yeah, he has been a huge hit. Speaking here, and even if the trailers maybe not showcasing the best parts, it will premiere at AFI Fest just a few weeks before its release, and it's that solid cast. It kind of makes me think a little bit of Grand Budapest Hotel, where it's got just that huge cast. Only some of them are going to be in like 2 scenes, and that's it. And it does look like it could be either a big hit or a gigantic miss, and Warren Beatty might have to just retire after that if he doesn't hit it big there. Not that he has to hit it big, but he's certainly one that's been hit or miss here in the past few years, if he's even shown up. Okay, next up we will talk about Lion. This is one, I think it just got slated actually for that release date here the last weekend of November there. Didn't it just get slated just a few weeks ago, or am I thinking of something else? But anyways, it will premiere at Toronto here in November. I believe it's also showing at a couple other ones before that. And it's got Dave Patel, Rooney Mara, uh, Nicole Kidman's in it. I'm trying to think who else would be recognizable there. Yeah, just those. But yeah, it does look like I have Nicole Kidman to get in for supporting actress there, just kind of just on name only. But and then Dave Patel is definitely, I think, a likely one for best actor there. It does have a story kind of like a few years ago. Philomena got in. You know, it was kind of the long lost child kind of story there, which was terrific movie by the way. And I think Lion could also do very well here. Kind of does have a similar premise there. Okay, then we get into December. Here we go, December, where things really get crazy. First one I'll talk about, I gotta tell you, I put it at number one so far to win Best Picture. Damien Chazelle's La La Land. The second trailer that just came out a week or two ago was impressive to say the least, and I do think it does look like one of the year's best films. Just premiered last night at Venice Film Festival, or this night, whatever. It's technically last night in Venice right now, in Italy, and so far the critics that have been there that have reviews up, they love it. It's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes already. A lot of 5 out of 5s or A's or however you want to call it. And Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, J.K. Simmons, John Legend's in there, Finn Wittrock, Rosemary DeWitt. Good, solid cast. And I'm trying to think what else I want to say. Oh yeah, Damien Chazelle, of course, who wrote and directed Whiplash, which was gigantic film at the Oscars a few years ago. Won 3 out of its 5 nominations, almost won 4, and is I mean, Whiplash for me was best film of 2014. Terrific movie. Still one to go back and watch, and I still get a big kick out of it. And I mean, he's got a lot of his crew back from Whiplash on that. It's coming out from Summit, who won best film or best picture, I should say, with the Hurt Locker a few years ago. So they know how to put together a campaign there. And Damien Chazelle, of course, I think all the great word of mouth from Whiplash will still linger on. I have him getting in and winning directors, whichever screenplay he's getting in, which I think is original. Pretty sure it's original. Then again, Whiplash got put into adapted when it was kind of more original, and yeah, that's one. As soon as I get the chance to see it, that and Billy Lynn definitely. Those two, I think, are just going to be the most, are they're the most anticipated of the Oscar films for me this year. Okay, next one is Miss Sloane. It is about what's her name? It's a gun patrol. That's what I want to tell you. Jessica Chastain is what I'm thinking about. It's a movie about gun patrol. It's John Madden is the director there. Of course, many great films out there, from Shakespeare in Love to Mrs. Brown is a good one too. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel movies. Yeah, and Chastain, of course, is a very well respected actress. You got Michael Stuhlbarg in there again. You've got John Lithgow, Sam Waterston. You've got Mark Strong, Gugu Mbatha Raw, who got a lot of credit the other year for Beyond the Lights. And yeah, and it's showing in is it showing in Toronto, or am I looking at that wrong? It was shot in Toronto. Sorry, no, it's due out in December there, and I think that she's definitely a likely pick for Best Actress. Maybe a couple of those supporting categories might get a slot here and there. And I don't know much else about the film. They haven't released a trailer that I know of, so yeah, we'll see about that. Next up, Collateral Beauty with Will Smith, who almost got in last year for a concussion. And it's kind of more or less a 180 story there, from what I know about it. And it's got a really solid cast in there. It's got Kate Winslet, Keira Knightley, Helen Mirren, Edward Norton, Michael Pena, Naomi Harris is in there. It's who's the director there? David Frankel. Have I seen any of his stuff? Oh, he directed Marley and Me. Oh, I don't really like that movie. Sorry, sorry to disappoint everybody. Devil Wears Prada, Hope Springs. Yeah, he's directed a few things here and there. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a huge hit. I mean, it's Warner Brothers. They might push a lot more money into Sully or something else. I don't know. But that's one that could have some potential there. The Founder is the next one we'll talk about with Michael Keaton. Yeah, that was supposed to come out in August. What happened there? Well, evidently Weinstein thinks they've got a bigger hitter than they thought, and they think, well, do we either, because that's the way it is anymore with Oscar films, if you release them in August, is either the buzz is so strong that it stays with you, or it just makes money, and that's it. You know, like The Butler a few years ago came out in August, and very well-received film, big hit at the box office, 0 Oscar nods. Came out too early. So they probably second guess themselves there and push it to December. I don't think it has anything to do with the quality of the film. I think it's just Weinstein saying, "Hey, let's push it back there." Um, as far as I know, it's not showing at any film festivals. Um, let's see. I don't know if they got any reviews on the film either. Let's check it out. That one might have a couple of reviews, actually, because I'm seeing there's a couple of foreign markets there they were advertising that might have already have already shown the film. Let's see if it has any, or if they're even in English to begin with. Let's see. In the meantime, yeah, Michael Keaton's the star there. Come on, I typed it in. It won't search. What the hell? Yeah, Michael Keaton. We've got Nick Offerman. B.J. Novak. Yeah, B.J. Novak. Laura Dern's in there as well. It's a pretty solid cast there. It's John Lee Hancock, who directed Saving Mr. Banks and The Blind Side. Yeah, I think it's and it definitely has the potential there. Yes, to be a big hitter there. Linda Cardellini's also in the cast. I'm seeing there. Patrick Wilson's in there. Yeah, it's solid cast. Michael Keaton, of course, has been on a roll the last 2 years, being one of the top billed stars, if not the top billed star, in the last 2 Best Picture winners. You don't get much better than that. And that could hit it big with the Oscars there. Next one is one that I didn't know much about until recently, and that was Fences, directed by, of all people, Denzel Washington, also starring Denzel Washington. Viola Davis is also in the cast. McKelty Williamson, from Forrest Gump. What's he been in since then? I can't remember. Maybe Con Air, and that's it. But yeah, it's kind of ex-baseball player, now a trash collector. It's based on a play actually from the is it the 80s was when the play was written? I want to say 80s. Yeah. And it was on Broadway and stuff, and won Tonys and Pulitzers and all that. So it's a very, very well-written thing, and I'm sure Denzel, as a director, I haven't seen him do anything that I remember. Has he directed something that I've seen? Or is this his first time directing? Let's see. I can't remember if he's directed anything before. And maybe he is the... Also producer is listed there. Also producer on Book of Eli, but... as far as I know, this is his directorial debut as well. And of course, Denzel is very well respected at the Oscars. I have him getting in for Best Actor. I think Viola Davis is probably likely for Best Actress. Maybe a win, maybe not. We'll see how the competition goes. Because she was definitely a very near winner a few years ago with The Help. And Denzel was probably second fiddle to Daniel Day-Lewis for a couple years ago for Flight. A really good performance still. And just the subject matter also could also push it over the edge as long as it's still, a really great film, which I'm sure it'll be good. Next one I'll talk about Morton Tilden's follow-up to The Imitation Game, Passengers. Definitely one of the bigger powerhouse actors there, or acting duets there with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. A few people's already saying Jennifer Lawrence is going to be celebrating her, the 5th Oscar nomination? We don't know. I can't say for sure yet. The story, from what I've heard, of course, it's about people who wake up early on a long voyage. It sounds fascinating, and it's got Martin Tilden, very good with Imitation Game. Um, they've got Michael Sheen and Lawrence Fishburne in the cast. Never really go wrong with them, except Batman v Superman, but we're not going to get into that. Um, and yeah, I'm thinking it's. I'm excited for it, even though we haven't seen any trailers yet. Just a couple of still images. I'm still saying, hey, yeah, I want to see it. And it's yeah, Columbia will be behind it there, Sony. So yeah, we'll see how well it does there. That comes out kind of mid-December there, right? Actually, the weekend before Christmas, I believe, or the Wednesday before Christmas, or however that works out. The next one up is Patriots Day, kind of based on the marathon bombing in Boston there from 2013, I think. Can't remember if it was 13 or 14. Yeah, 2013. There we go. Yeah, it's another terrific cast there. We've got Mark Wahlberg, John Goodman, Kevin Bacon, J.K. Simmons, Michelle Monaghan. I feel like I'm leaving some out. There might be a few more in there. But yeah, it's Peter Berg is the director there. He's had some good stuff in the past. He's had some bad stuff too. He's also got Deepwater Horizon out later this September. But what was the last one? Oh, Lone Survivor got a few nominations here and there. What was the one he did early on that people really like? Oh, Very Bad Things, which I don't know if I like that one very well or not. I haven't seen it in years. I don't even think I even finished it. But anyways, let's not dwell on the past here. It's got Matt Charman, who also co-wrote Bridge of Spies here last year. He got his first Oscar nomination for that. He's writing the screenplay. It's, again, solid cast. Wahlberg is also producing the film. And, of course, the subject matter, I think, is going to be a good one for Oscar voters, as long as it's not way too sappy. And something like this, when it's so recent, has that chance to be a little sappy, but we'll see. Next one I'll mention here is another one I don't know. I know almost nothing about, and that's 20th Century Women. It's got, and I'm just kind of mentioning this just based on the cast, really. Annette Bening, Greta Gerwig, which I want to see that pairing for sure. Elle Fanning and Billy Crudup. Who just won one of the SAGs there last year for Spotlight. Kind of got overlooked there. He was good in that movie. This is premiering at New York Film Festival in October there, before it goes wide in December there. Not sure what the film's about. I don't care. It'll be good. Yeah, Greta Gerwig, of course, very much overlooked for her spectacular performance last year in my favorite film of the year last year, and that was, I can't even remember the name of it now, Mistress America. Yeah, terrific movie. Definitely one you should see if you haven't seen yet. That's a really good one. Okay, then we've got a couple more here we're going to talk about, and then that's all I have for today. Gold with Matthew McConaughey. His could be his next big hitter there. Also, it's got Edgar Ramirez, Bryce Dallas Howard. It's directed by Stephen Gaghan, who has, let's bring up a couple of his other films there. Syriana was his last one, of course, very much, very well-respected film. And his kind of like Nocturnal Animals, which I won't mention too much, because, again, I don't know much what it's about, except it has Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams again, and who else is in that one? Michael Shannon, yeah. Lots of people in that one. Don't know what it's about, but it does also premiere at Venice here later this week. What was I going to say? Oh, it's another return of a director we haven't seen in a long time. And that one, it's Tom Ford, who directed, A Single Man. Yeah, with Colin Firth, that's right. Years ago, and has since kind of disappeared. And this is one. Gold is definitely one that I'm looking forward to. Again, I don't know much about the story. Kind of want to keep it that way. And I don't know if there is a trailer yet for the film. I haven't seen it, if there is one. All right, then the last one we'll talk about potentially will come out and be a nominee this year and be in the runnings, and that is Live. I believe it's pronounced, if it's Live or Live, I think it's Live. Live by Night, Ben Affleck's next film. If there's anybody in Hollywood, or at the Oscars, I should say, who the Academy owes them one. It's Ben Affleck for not nominating him for his directorial excellence in Argo. Really, and it's set 20s 30 depression era. It's about gangsters. I'm sure it'll go over well as long as it's ready and as long as it does have that limited release in December. Right now, it is slated only for a wide release in January. But yeah, I'm thinking it as long as it gets what it needs there, it'll be one of the nominees for sure. Okay, so I briefly also want to mention a couple other things here as far as what I think is going to get in at the Oscars. Early on, just some early picks here: La La Land, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, Manchester by the Sea. I have The Girl on the Train in there, The Founder, Birth of a Nation, Fences, Sully, Hacksaw Ridge, and Lion as the 10, up to 10. Director, I have Damien Chazelle for La La Land, Ang Lee for Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. I'm throwing in John Lee Hancock for The Founder just for the hell of it, Clint Eastwood for Sully just for the hell of it, and Nate Parker for The Birth of a Nation. Kenneth Lonergan is for Manchester by the Sea, is probably a good one to pick. Denzel might get in for Fences. Denis Villeneuve for Arrival is potential there. For lead actress, I have Emma Stone in there, Emily Blunt, Girl on the Train, Emma Stone for La La Land, Viola Davis for Fences, Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins, Amy Adams, The Arrival. There's a couple other people talking about Annette Bening for 20th Century Women. For Best Actor, I have Michael Keaton in there. I have Ryan Gosling, Nate Parker, Denzel, and Tom Hanks for their respective films. Casey Affleck is definitely one to consider there. I need to update these. I just did these once, so maybe I'll throw in a couple other ones there. Supporting actress, I have Michelle Williams, Manchester by the Sea, Kristen Stewart, Billy Lynn. I put in two of the Girl on the Train girls in there, Haley Bennett and Rebecca Ferguson, maybe because Tate Taylor knows how to get a supporting actress in, both supporting actresses in there. Nicole Kidman for Lion, I also have in there. A few people are talking about the potential for Dakota Fanning for American Pastoral. Could be. And Rachel Weisz for Light Between Oceans is also one people are considering there. And for supporting actor, I have Steve Martin in there for Billy Lynn, Armie Hammer for Birth of a Nation, Timothy Spall for Denial, no idea what that's about or even when it's coming out. Stephen Henderson is getting some buzz for Fences, I believe, because his role in the play, I guess, has some substantial stuff there. Lucas Hedges for Manchester by the Sea is one. Kyle Chandler of Manchester by the Sea. And people are talking about Hugh Grant and Florence Foster Jenkins. Haven't seen it yet, but that's one I'll keep an eye on. And then Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water has also been brought up quite a bit here in the last little bit. So that's one I'm dying to see that one. I have, again, no idea what it's about other than people are saying it's kind of a Western. That's all I need to know. I'm in. Okay. And then a couple people are talking about favorite films this year. People love Deadpool. And a lot of people are saying, why, if Mad Max could do it, why can't Deadpool? Well, here's why. I don't know. I don't think it's going to do well at the Oscars. Maybe makeup, maybe visual effects, but we're stretching it there. I'm thinking where it's going to have its best luck is at the Golden Globes. I think Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy, it could get in for Best Film. And I have Ryan Reynolds probably as a good bet to get nominated for lead actor in a comedy or musical. And yeah, there's lots of stuff there for potential. And yeah, I think the Golden Globes, as far as how they're going to split drama and comedy, we don't know 100% yet what's going to end up where. But if I had to guess, definitely La La Land is going to have musical comedy all by itself unless rules don't apply. It does get a big kick. Drama is going to be split between Billy Lynn, Manchester by the Sea, and what's the other one people like? Birth of a Nation. Yeah, early on. That's what we can guess there. Yeah, Screen Actors Guild, I have no idea. Rules don't apply, maybe getting in there. Birth of a Nation, other frontrunners probably. La La Land will be amongst them probably. BAFTA, no idea. Yeah, a lot of these, again, it's pure speculation. We have no idea. Anyway, so that's just kind of a touch-up as far as, and of course there's some, I'm sure, that are going to get introduced real late. Big Short, we didn't have an official release date for that one until, I think, October or mid-September or whatever. So we might have one of those that comes up out of nowhere at the end of the year. And of course, a few of them might drop out. A couple of them might get pushed back to spring of next year. Like Demolition was one last year that we were saying maybe Jake Gyllenhaal gets another shot at Best Actor, and then that got pushed back to March and got some pretty mixed to negative reviews. So that one we haven't heard anything since. And I think it came out. Some people saw it, other people didn't. It was forgotten, And a couple of films do that. So yeah, just an early, pure speculation stage is where we're at. And of course, until next time, happy Oscar season.